90 days ago, I was put in Instagram jail. I said something that offended Zuckerberg apparently, and they told me that for 90 days, only the people following me were gonna see what I posted. But I started getting messages from people asking where my content was and why they couldn't see my posts. Now, this didn't really come as a shock because there have been times where I've been warned by Instagram, but I've never been fully banned for the 90 days that I was. But guys, if you follow this channel, you know that I exclusively post Christian content, so it was bound to happen, right? I mean, I think we've seen how the world is starting to censor all different types of Christian creators and Christian content out there. But on top of this, they also took away my monetization. So that means that I couldn't make money on reels and ads weren't playing. And so that's one of the reasons that I was so concerned, because this is also part of my livelihood. And at the time, I had about 100,000 people that were following me. So I knew I was going to take a big hit, but I didn't realize how big of a hit it was going to be. I mean, maybe 10% of the people that were following me were still seeing my stuff. And to be honest, at first I tried to put on a brave face and I tried to be confident and okay with it, because I realized that as I post Christian content, this is bound to happen. But I gotta be honest, after some time, I felt super discouraged when I saw all the drop off of engagement and people that were able to hear what I had to say. Because less people were seeing it, it felt like I was making less of an impact. And it's not that I want so many people to see my stuff, but it's rather I want to be able for my platform to have the broadest reach possible, because that means the most people are hearing the gospel message. So there was one day where I was having a really tough time, but then one of my friends and mentors reached out and I had a really great conversation with him. He said, "Spencer, if you want to preach truth, this is just going to be part of the process. There is a cost to following Jesus. There is a cost for saying things that are counterculture, that the world hates." And he really gave me great perspective on it. So I turned away from being discouraged to, okay, what can I learn in this season? And so here's a couple things that I learned while being in Instagram jail. The first thing I learned that I felt like was always in my heart, but this is the time where in my life I really experienced it. And that's the fact that God is the one that opens and closes doors of opportunity. Now, I'm not saying that if you got laid off from your job, God is the one that laid you off. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we have to have the ability to look past the physical lens and look at what's going on in the spiritual. I had to remind myself that it was God that called me to start this podcast. It was God that called me to start this YouTube ministry, what's developed and evolved into this full-on media ministry. And so because God is the one that established my steps, I didn't have to fear anything, any opposition that was coming my way. And let me tell you, in your life, nothing can stand in the way of the will of God. Now, we can make stupid decisions and we can decide not to go down the path that God has called us to do. But when it comes to opportunities that you feel like are taken away from you, or when it feels like the enemy's trying to attack you and things are happening in your lives, just remember the fact that God's call is irrevocable on your life. It may feel sometimes that people are slamming doors in your face and it seems like opportunity is running away from your grasp, but let me just encourage you that God is the one that closes doors to protect us from walking through them, and God is the one that opens doors only He can open. We always want success to be this linear line that's just good and better and better and better, but how many of you know that's not what life is? Life comes with ups and downs. It comes with mountaintops and valleys. It's not all butterflies and rainbows. There is real hardship and trials that we face, but in all of it, we are confident that God works together all for the good of those that love Him and are called according to His purpose. So even though life may be hard sometimes and we can't really grasp what He's doing, we have to have the faith and the understanding that even if we can't see it, God is moving the pieces together that we are walking into, and that opportunity is something only He can create. You are going to have to walk through some tough terrain, and even the enemy is going to throw some hurdles at you and some obstacles, but just know if you just fix your eyes on Jesus, if I just fix my eyes on Jesus, He's going to draw us and beckon us and lead us towards the path that we are supposed to go. What God has started, no man can stop. And the second thing I realized in this season is the limited perspective that we have as people. It seemed like everything was against me and it seemed like this was something that was bad, but I had to have the wisdom and the understanding to open my eyes up to say, God, okay, what is the opportunity in this trial? Every trial that you face is going to come with some type of godly opportunity. God can work through any circumstance, but we have to have the ability to see beyond what's going on and say, okay, God, how are you strengthening me in this? How are you helping me gain wisdom in this? And how are you adding revealing to me something necessary that's needed so that I can confidently step into what you've called me to do. Of course, this was frustrating, and I could have had the position of saying, wow, this is so stupid, I give up, I'm just not going to post for 3 months because there's no point of any reach and any growth, so I'm just going to sit on my hands for 3 months and I'm going to go binge shows and not do anything, not work, because there's no point to it. Right? I could take the position of a sad boy, like with a rain cloud over my head, just woe is me, and that is the natural reaction that a lot of us have, me included, is that when things don't go our way, we want to just be sad and discouraged and kind of just give up. And that can easily lead to a toxic victim mindset that not only destroys ourselves, but it hurts the people around us. So instead of having that mindset of lacking where I thought, wow, nothing is given to me, I don't have anything, I instead said, what do I have? And God, how can you use this season? And I thought to myself, you know what? There's still a following that have already followed me, that already consume my content. And now instead of looking at a reach to go beyond and to see how many people can hear the gospel message, I thought to myself, well, maybe I can take this time to really just invest in those that are already following me. So instead, I thought to myself, how can I build the community that is here? And let me tell you, as I put out resources like a 5-day devotional, and as I put out a little bit more teachings for the people that were following me, over 3 months, I got so many testimonies of people saying, wow, thank you for helping me strengthen my faith. Thank you for giving me a community and a space where I can ask questions. And it really did as much, maybe even more, for the kingdom of heaven that I invested into the people that were already following me versus looking for the reach of the millions. And that actually laid the foundation to launching this media ministry as a nonprofit and doing the live streams and getting all the logistics in order to be in a place where we're at right now. See, there's so much fruit that was available, but it wasn't the fruit that I initially wanted. And so because of that, I didn't have eyes to see what God wanted me to see. So my practical advice from this is, if you find yourself maybe in a season and a place of life that isn't ideal in your opinion, instead of complaining, instead of whining, instead of saying and asking God, why me, why this, take it away from me, maybe shift your focus and ask God, how can you use this for my good? How can I be developed in this season? How can I use the rough terrain to strengthen my spirit and strengthen my resolve so that I'm ready to step into what you have for me? It's all about perspective. Because sometimes being stuck in life is the biggest blessing that God could give us, because He works in us something that's necessary. And now that I'm on the other side of the 90-day Instagram ban, I'm so thankful that I got to do what I did in that season. And oftentimes that's just how our life with Christ is going to be. It's, I don't understand while I'm in the struggle, but then afterwards you look back and you realize all the things that God taught you and all the things that were developed in you. So my hope and my prayer for you is that whatever season you're in, how rough it may be, how rough the terrain may be that you're navigating in, how difficult it may seem, I trust, and you should trust, that God is working in that season to produce something in you and in others that's necessary for His ultimate glory. And if you want to know more about what waiting on God looks like, check out this video.